Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bachata Uncensored. We have Miguel and Michael, and we're very excited for this second round of podcasting. We like to make sure that our community is informed about what's going on, and also, it's more important in this case to know what happened. So, this topic is called Pushing Progress Through the Pandemic. Us as social dancers have been able to enjoy um, bachata throughout the pandemic, whether that be digitally or safely in person. And there's been amazing people who have been able to provide those spaces. So we invited three different people today, each with a very specific role that were able to make things happen in the bachata community and beyond California, in our opinion. So we're very thankful that they're here today. So let's introduce them. First of all, we have a venue host, a promoter, and a DJ. So let's start with our beautiful venue host. Hello.
Hi everyone. My name is Nancy Kawai, and I am your venue host here at Play at the in beautiful downtown LA.
Thank you for sharing that facility. We'll definitely plug that in again. We're very grateful to be here, and it serves the purpose 100%. Next, we have our amazing DJ. Would you introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Alexandro El Jaguar Lopez. I'm a DJ out of San Francisco, California, bringing those beats live every Tuesday and Thursday. Ooh, wee.
Oh, yeah, you DJ. Absolutely. And last but not least, this gentleman needs no introduction, but for the sake of the podcast, we're happy to introduce him. Let's have our promoter share himself a little bit.
Hi guys, my name is Brandon. I'm based out of LA, and they call me the pandemic promoter.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a legend years from now. Oh, yeah. Well, that being said, before we start with our discussion, let's raise our glasses and in responsible, classy fashion. Cheers.
Cheers,
Cheers.
everyone.
Cheers,
I
gentlemen.
think I took my drink too soon.
Well, none of us are driving. Well, I know Alex is not driving home. You have a very short walk. You're chilling. Short walk to the bedroom.
All right. So to jump right into this, we'll go ahead and have a series of questions for each one of you. So first and foremost, of course, with the challenges of the pandemic, we saw a lot of things that came about that were difficult to navigate. But first and foremost, we want to know what your background is. So how did you get into the role that you guys are in now?
I would love to hear from our amazing Nancy.
So for me, this beautiful venue came across our family. So this is a family business, and initially it wasn't going to be for these types of events that we've been hosting. When I first saw it, I kind of just thought, wow, this would be perfect for our type of events, but that wasn't our initial plan for this type of venue. But during the pandemic, obviously, a lot of our people were in need of somewhere to go, somewhere to relieve all their stress.
Bachata
Therapy,
fix.
exactly. So, putting two and two together, I have a business background, so I just thought, you know what, let's just turn this into something that we can do for our dance community, right? Brandon approached me and he was like all for it and became the #1 pandemic promoter of 2020. So, we got together with a couple other people and we were able to start doing events. And, we've gotten feedback from totally different ends of the spectrum. We've gotten a lot of criticism and we've gotten a lot of people that were very grateful to us for having something somewhere where they can go and feel like they were at home, like before pre-pandemic. Um, but we did what we were able to do, and we're trying to be as responsible as possible, and just we trusted everyone being responsible themselves and making the adult decisions. And if you want to go, if you want to come, great. And if you don't, if you want to stay at home and you're against this, then that's totally fine. We respect everybody's decision, but we wanted to have something for the people that didn't want, that needed something like that.
We're excited to hear more about those risks and opportunities that you said because, again, it starts with the venue host. You need a place, right? Or a space. So thank you for sharing. Let's go ahead and pass it on to our DJ Hawad. How was your story?
Yes, so I'm a DJ here in San Francisco, and it kind of happened by opportunity. I was gonna say accident, but really opportunity. Someone I was dating found out that I used to DJ in LA. I was a house DJ, actually, old school house DJ, vinyl and all, carrying the crates everywhere. When I moved to the Bay Area, I just stopped playing. You know, I don't know, I got into my career and I just decided that maybe it's not something I want to continue to do. So I focused on my career. Years later, you know, I started dating someone and they were going to have a birthday party and they found out that I was a DJ. And what I really wanted for her was to go to therapy because I had gone through therapy and there was things that she was battling with. And I said, you know what? If you go to therapy, I'll for your birthday, I'll DJ. I didn't know, I didn't have equipment, I didn't have nothing, nothing. I just had the thought, I want this is will be good for her. So I ended up buying a mixer, and I had never played on a mixer, so it was like a kid in a candy store, because what would take, you know, the coordination of two hands to loop something and crayons and all kinds of stuff just to loop something was at a press of a button, and I was like, what is happening here? So I basically like started playing with my equipment like a musician with his instrument. And I learned what every button did. And if I wanted to try something new, I would go on YouTube, I would ask people. And I know my mixer like an instrument. It's mine and I don't go anywhere without it. Even though they offer better mixers, like I bring mine. So it turned out that I had been like practicing in my room, you know, garage DJ. This guy Chris would come over to my house, and he'd like, "Man, this is some." It was like a pre-party before we would even go dancing. Someone heard me playing, a friend of mine, and she was an instructor in a club, and she called me and she's like, "Hey, my DJ canceled on me last minute. Can you play for me?" And I told her, I don't do that. Like I'm not a club DJ. Like I just play in my room. Are you kidding me? And so I hung up the phone and I thought at that moment, I said, well, this is either a defining moment in my life or something I'm just gonna play with, you know, as a hobby. And I called her back up and I said, you know what, let's do it. Let's do it. That was Wednesday. Friday night, I was in a club playing music for like, I don't know, 300 people, right? I go through an hour and a half of music and I realize that I'm out of music. I ran out. I went through every bachata song I owned. So I literally restarted my set and just played it all over again. And apparently people loved it because I got asked to come back every Friday night. And then it just kind of took off from there and I haven't looked back.
Just for the sake of the story, the guy Chris, that's me. It's amazing to know how people's stories begin and being there in that club when you ran out of music, not knowing what to do, but I just got you another drink to calm you down. That was a very funny and amazing experience. So when people say you pick it up and run with it, I mean you picked it up and ran it and you scored a touchdown, man. We were lucky to have you, and I really loved your journey, Ale. Proud of you, man.
You.
Let's go ahead and take it to our next guest, our pandemic promoter. This one definitely is going to have a great story to it. So let's hear from you.
All right. Well, started off in the dance scene altogether as a dancer, obviously. I got into the promotional side of things in a very interesting way. Honestly, I pretty much have COVID to thank for it, right? It was something that had sort of, you know, passed through my mind here and there. You know, I knew I wanted to do something other than dancing, but I just, you know, I didn't know exactly whether it was going to be teaching, whether it was going to be promotion. I didn't know what it was going to be. Right before the pandemic, I tried my hand at teaching. It was cool. Like I like it, but it's just, it's a different thing, different animal. So COVID happens. To be honest, I was pretty happy that COVID sort of happened and then we got on lockdown, because at the time I was on 3 teams at the time. So my body was killing me, my feet were killing me, my legs were screwed up. Like I was just a little burnout, to be honest. So when March came, I sort of welcomed it. I just, you know, kicked back in my apartment. I had my, you know, I was just chilling. So I'd say maybe between March and And really June, I didn't have anything to do with dancing, and I wasn't bothered by that. You know what I mean? So eventually I started to get the itch, as everybody else did. And I said, you know what, let me just try to figure out something for myself and a few friends. So the first thing I ended up doing was a silent headphone party. And it was like super last minute. It was not very well coordinated because it was a very spur of the moment sort of situation. So I actually contacted this company in Phoenix, and they were like, yeah, we've got headphones. We charge you about $5 a headphone. I was like, all right, cool. Can you overnight them to me? That's how quick it was. I had them overnighted to me. So spent all this money to have these headphones delivered to my apartment. They came overnight, and I booked a hotel room in downtown LA. And I had maybe about 30, 35 people show up to this little tiny suite. And it was perfect. You know, I did the silent headphones so that we weren't going to be disturbing any of the neighbors or anything like that. And it went off perfectly. We were there, you know, all the way till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Nobody knocked on the door. It was no big deal. So after that happened, I said, all right, cool. Let me try this again. But this time, because at the time I was kind of coming out of my own pocket for everything. So I said, you know what, let me just kill the hotel expense and I'm gonna just do it at my apartment. Okay. So now I'm bringing 40, 45 people into my apartment on the next one. And I will never have a party in my apartment again. I still have stuff. I still find little things from that party in my apartment to this day. I moved my sofa and found I had like some popcorn or something that night, and it's in crazy places. So, but again, it went well. I ended up having the cops called on that one. My neighbor, who I totally understand. Luckily, she allowed us to be there till maybe 2 o'clock in the morning. So it was all good. We were there. It was like a full normal night, but the cops did show up. I have a recurring story with the cops throughout this pandemic, by the way. So that went off well. And but at that point I was like, okay, I can't have anything in my apartment. It's just not feasible. It's not doable. So the next thing I kind of moved on to was this helipad situation. And there was this helipad situation that was going on in downtown LA. Friend of mine, Tanya, she actually was the one that found the space originally. And she wanted to start something and do something just for a couple of friends. So she maybe had like 10 people show up to this helipad in downtown. We had this little tiny speaker and we were just vibing. It was cool. Well, she then said, hey, I'm just not interested in the coordination of this. It's just too much for me to handle. Do you want to do it? I said, sure, I'll do it. I mean, I was able to get, 40 people in my apartment. How hard could it be to get, a few more people up here on the rooftop? So started promoting that. And we're talking about a rooftop, high up in downtown LA. And so, it was highly illegal for sure. This was a situation where I was charging people to come in, and I really wasn't making any money off of the deal because the cash that I was bringing in for people to come in, I was paying the security guard of the building to sort of look the other way. So every week we did that, and it got bigger and bigger, all the way to the point that it went from being a 10-person sort of situation to being well over 100 on the top of a building in downtown LA with no guardrails, people drinking. It just got really suspect. So I had to kind of let that go because it was just dangerous at that point. It was a situation where, you have that many people on a rooftop drinking everything, like it could have been a disaster. Come to find out later as well, the building was owned by the LAPD. So I don't know how the hell I got, past that or beyond that with nothing happening, but it was a blessing, I guess, that LAPD never landed their helicopter on the building while we were there. So, once I let that go, I wasn't really sure what was going to happen next. It was right around Halloween time. And so I went to a Halloween party, and Nancy was there. And, we were kind of talking about, what had transpired at the helipad. And, she was asking me what I thought I might do next. And I was like, I don't know, like, I'm going to figure something out. For now, that was such a chaotic situation that I think I just need a little bit of time to just sort of decompress, and I'll figure something out later. So that's when she came and said, well, hey, I've got this venue. I have a venue. It's in downtown LA. It's a warehouse. It's under construction. It's not ready, but eventually we want to do events and stuff there. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Can I come and see it? So I met Nancy at this warehouse, and I took a step inside, and it was a freaking disaster. It was like totally, there was mounds of dirt and dust and just like crap everywhere. And I was just like, okay, the space, it's totally like the space that we need, but it's just not in any type of shape that we could have something, here at this for. But I said, you know what? Screw that. Why don't we just set a date? Let's just set a date. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So we set this date. And she was like, all right, yeah, we're just going to have to really get in there and clean it up. And I said, okay, let's do it. So that's when I contacted a couple of other people that, I had some relationships with. Brought my friend Esther in, who was doing she's an interior decorator, and does parties and stuff like that. So I said, hey, I'm pretty sure that we could use your expertise in turning something that's really ugly into something very beautiful. And then I also brought my friend Memo in, who, just does everything. He's just an all around handy guy. And I knew that I could just count on him to lean on him and make sure that this place was going to be ready. So myself, Memo, Esther, Nancy, we all just came together, walked the space, and we were like, all right, this is a freaking wreck, but we're going to do it. So at the time, it was a little taboo to be trying to do events and everything like that. So I suggested that we come up with this name, Bachata Underground, which was a name that basically didn't necessarily point to it being anybody's thing. It could be anybody's. It could have been Chris or Jay's for all we know. It was just supposed to be a complete anonymous sort of group. And so, yeah, that's how we started. We did our first event. It went off without a hitch. And so we said, okay, cool. Now we know that we can do this. It took an extreme amount of work. It took an extreme amount of hours, but we made it happen. So once I saw that, that was all I needed. Once I figured out that we could do this, then we were off to the races. So we set our next date. We did a second event. It went extremely well. Then it's December. It's the end of December. So we're like, okay, hey, we're feeling ourselves. We've been able to put this together. Let's do a New Year's Eve party. So we set the date. We got our boy DJ Zonic involved, which, maybe that was a blessing or a curse, who knows, but we got him involved. And we got DJ Soltrix involved with that situation. So we had our New Year's Eve event, and that was the first time that I ended up on the news, 11 different news channels, because 80 cops had shown up and blown up our party. So that's pretty much where I kind of got the reputation of being a pandemic promoter. That's where that sort of came from, was just really New Year's Eve and all of that stuff sort of blowing up in not only my face, but Nancy's and Memo's and Esther's. The only reason that I caught the flack really was because I was the one on TV. So, it was a little crazy, but yeah, that's pretty much how I kind of came to be. And after that, I took a little time down because things got a little hot for me. And, you know, I was obviously the topic of a lot of discussion. But I took that month break. And as soon as we, you know, about a month or so went by, I got right back to it. And I started throwing what has now become several regular events.
Brandon,
So that's my story.
I mean, all three of us were there during the 80% of that story, so we know we can vouch. It's as good as it sounds. And two things for me, any publicity is good publicity, especially for you, my friend. And I'm still missing a bandana that I'm convinced is at your apartment during that first headphone party.
Absolutely.
And you know what? Like, honestly, like the resounding theme in all of this is the fact that you guys, in the face of insurmountable odds, like continue to persevere, you know, progress through these various challenges, which is really a testament to each one of your characters, you know, and the way that you care about the scene, you know, and all of us within the scene. I know I can speak for everyone when I say this, like at least the people who have participated, and of course the other people who like complain, like it is what it is, you know, can't please everybody. But for those of us who have enjoyed those sets, you know, the events that you guys have thrown, like y'all would love to say thank you know, because for a lot of us, I know for myself, you know, personally, and a bunch of different people that I've spoken to, you know, when the pandemic hit, you know, it hit a lot of people's mental health in a really, really intense way. And, you know, it literally was going from 100, where it's like, we got all these events. We got Stevens in LA, you know, we got PCH in Long Beach, you know, we got Vince's events, we got Zonic's events, we got all this stuff. Then it comes to full stop. And it's like, what do we do from that standpoint? You know, we start seeing all these various like small events pop up, but to have something that's so organized and so succinct, you know, and you know, just well done. You know, I'd just like to say thank you to all you guys. And one thing for Alex, for DJ Jaguar, like man, your scene in your set in Miami was a highlight. Like me and Chris still talk about this to this day. Your set at Bachipiando in Miami was one of the most memorable sets, bro. And I still got your shirt, by the way. There's a story behind that.
I knew you were gonna bring that up. Oh man, I want to hear it.
Baby. Yeah, I got your shirt too.
We'll bring it down a little later, man. But yeah, that was a funny moment.